We are?
Okay. So, my name is Wayne Rumsey. I'm the NDI president here, representative, and now I, with the pastor's approval, have taken on the role of coordinator for the Stone Mass Care Team. I've had the privilege all through COVID to be able to serve with greeting, with counting and stuff. I enjoy just being around people, to be honest with you. It really kind of energizes me, but then I'll be honest with you, by Sunday afternoon, this brother's got to take a Stone Mass nap. I'm just like, I don't know what it is, but like, I love talking to people, I like hanging out, but by 1 o'clock, so if you see me starting nodding off, it's just because that's my, like, I go on the couch, I lay down for a little bit, and I just take a break, and then tonight we have NOMA. I'm starting back up with our NOMA group. And so, to be able to do this, to be able to take my gifts that God, in the way that He's created me, to be able to pour them back in the church. I've been able to go on mission trips with EJAM, helping out wherever I can, helping people move. Now with this engagement part, it is so important because people want to worship where they feel safe. And the natural, I think the natural thought process is when you come to church, you kind of feel like it's automatic. And it should be automatic, and church should be a place spiritually for people to come and feel safe, physically if we're having some issues. Having the care team is just that, helping the ushers, the greeters, helping the pastors with whatever they may need, but looking at things like today, which we'll cover, I had the shirt on. So I had a little girl comes up to me, like, I think 4 years old, and she tells me that her mom, that she lost her stuffed dog or something, or teddy bear, and can I help her find it? And I'm like, and her mom saw the shirt and automatically said, hey. So now we're starting to be recognized. So that's why I think it's so important to be wearing the vests or grab a shirt and stuff like that and see how it goes. But the vests are the easiest thing, sort of like Walmart, just put them on. That was an idea that Pastor Kenneth came up with. And we've been in conversation probably over a year, especially after the Welcome Bash last year, and we had the gentleman where we kind of had a little bit of a disturbance. There's been some medical emergencies. We had one that just happened at the beginning of the year, right during the service. Jesus to all generations. So we have infants in here. We've got little kids. We've got at the Stone Mass Cafe. We've got the food that people can choke on. You could just have someone have a medical event, whether it be a heart attack, stroke, or whatever. So to be able to have those additional resources, people were in a panic. We've had, if you were here when the smoke machine was setting off the fire alarm, we had a very impromptu fire drill. And so, and it happened like more than once. Like it happened like a couple of weeks like in succession of each other. One we had like a potluck and it happened right during the potluck. But those are the things when people are going in an emergency, people who are not familiar with emergencies all the time, they're going to be looking to somebody. And there should be a plan laid out because, most time you're going to be looking at your ushers or your greeters. So it's important that the ushers and greeters can do their things, but it's also important, just like I said, with the police department, there's certain unique branches within the police department that handle things. Community policing, SWAT teams, you have warrant units, you have different things. So we're just another branch to welcome people, to be looking for people in distress, to get the resources to where it needs to be, knowing where the AEDs are, knowing where the first aid kits are, knowing where the wheelchairs are, to get help. In some cases, the first thing we need to do is make sure we're calling 911. Because if I sit there and say, someone call 911, either 1,000 people are calling 911 or no one's calling 911 because they're thinking someone else is doing it. So for us to be scripted and knowing what to do in an emergency, who's going to be doing what, that's going to be important. If it's something where you couldn't see because of smoke or something like that in the building, people will panic. People are going to want to know where their kids are. People are going to might even want to run back into the building trying to get their kids. And there's safe spots. Pastor Rachel has a really great plan laid out and stuff like that. We just need to make sure everyone's on the same sheet of music when these type of things happen. And with the Welcome Bash, it was weird because it was like hardly no one was, everything was going on, and all of a sudden nothing was going on, and all of a sudden we were getting calls, weren't we, Nate? We had people that walked up, and because of the heat, they couldn't walk back down. Or we found someone sitting on the rock that needed a ride to their car because they walked so far, and they're like, they're having serious chest tugs and gasping for air and stuff. We had people that, I know you all regurgitated right in front of the care tent. It was little kids, they were eating food, running around, got too hot. Boom, there we go. First call we had was going down to the Still and Ask Cafe extension. They just got too hot. The little boy got too hot. We went down there and just made sure everyone's okay. But those are the little things when you have a group of people that you just want to make sure everything's okay. When you have outside events, it's really hard from a care perspective to control that thing. Inside a building, you have where the entrance ways are. You have it controlled. As we go back through here, and you can start looking at your packet. I put on here, like a shepherd is committed to the flock, the Still and Ask care team will be responsible for attending to the needs of church attendees, guests, during medical events or other unusual events that may occur during church services or events. The Still and Ask care team will be a branch of engagement ministry. So that means if we see someone's new, we should be greeting them, letting them know about the cards, get them a bulletin, get them to fill out the information in the bulletin. We live in a world, so we're looking for persons willing to serve, and we love to have team members with the following backgrounds or training in the following areas, but it's not required. We want to have someone that has medical background, mental health, crisis intervention, public safety. You love to have that because we want to have the team as balanced as possible. That's why inside the packet there's an information sheet that I kind of put together with some questions and asking you to fill those out. So that way, that gives me a kind of a background of who's doing what, who's had some particular training, where you're willing to serve, how many services you're willing to serve in. That is in there, Kelly, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then also I have the floor plan laid out for the church. That I got from childcare. They have that laid out so we know where areas we're talking about in an emergency, where we need to go to, who could be in trouble, whatever. So what I also laid down job responsibility. So I put there as a team coordinator, duties consist of coordinating with Still Meadow Church and Nazarene pastoral staff, the facility manager at weekly church services. So right now, we don't have a designated facility manager. Pastor Kent is wearing a lot of hats. You'll see him now. He's donning a radio with the earpieces and whatnot, and we'll get to that here in a little bit. Let's see. And coordinate with the pastor or the staff. We have big events. We have Trunk or Treat coming up the end of October 28th to be more specific. So I need to put together, I'm going to put out a simple email on that, like, hey, I already had 2 people who are already wanting to help with that. And that's what these information sheets help me to figure out. Are you just wanting to do special events? Or you just want to do a particular service? Can you only serve one time a month? There are features to black out dates and whatnot, or send me an email. Kelly, I know you did it, like, hey, I can only do one service a month. And that's very helpful, but tried and true. I'm an old war horse, so I like paper. I like to touch it. You all fill it out. That way, I have a file I can go back to, and I can share that file with the pastors, so they know who is capable of doing what. Well-being checks. I schedule well-being checks, and it's something new with the well-being check, and we have a kind of a breakdown. We'll get to that shortly, but your team leaders, like I said before, is Jeff Calendar. He's team leader 1. Whenever I'm not here, team leader 1, team leader 2, there's just Dustin Smurge. They function in my role. They're the ones you coordinate with. Those are the ones where we have questions. Those are the people we need to go to. So eventually, if I can, I'm going to maybe try to ask if I can get them to send me a picture so that you'll know exactly who they are. I know most of you probably know who Jeff Calendar is, but you may not be familiar with Dustin. And as we have these information sessions, then people we can get together. It's hard to get toward the end of the summer to get people together for different things. But those are the people that, when I'm not here, those are the ones you're going to get in contact with. And then I will be sending out an email to the class leaders who have the classes up here. What I want to incorporate in the well-being check is, you all walking up down the corridor, checking out the cafe. Like today, the teens had a thing going on. So what I've done is, everything that I'm proposing here, I have walked through personally and done myself. I want to see what it is. I want to see what the times are. Before I just spit something out to you in email or give you this literature, I want to make sure that it's feasible what I'm asking you to do. So there's another philosophy we have: inspect instead of expect. And you just have to do that. Anyone who's ever been in any type of leadership role, manager, administrator, you have to go back. You have to be with the troops on the boots on the ground to make sure what I'm asking is realistic. So what I did today for the well-being check, and I'm asking that they be done on each service. So if you're assigned well-being, so ideally I have four people assigned, or 4 people available for each of the positions, for the well-being, for monitoring inside. The camera, I only really have set 2. And the vision I see with theirs, you have to have someone at the camera, you can still have someone at the entranceway. Because as we know, not everyone's coming to services on time. They're coming in late, it might be someone brand new. And I have to talk with the greeters, like if Pastor Brad will have someone later at some point in time, because they're coming in 15 to 20 minutes. I've been tracking them for the last few weeks. 15, 20 minutes late sometimes coming in. And sometimes people, we just had a couple that are brand new, that, we just need to guide them. They might not be squared away with all of our service times, right? So coming up here, and sometimes we forget about them on Sunday, you got like at 10:30, you got 2 classes going on. So you have one down here, and you got one in the conference room upstairs. Sometimes there's even 3 going on, depending on what's going on. You have Pastor Brad's emotional healthy spirituality class going on at the second service, and then you have the more class down here. At 9 a.m., normally the only class you have going on is Happily Ever Together, and that's with Dale Clymer's class. So what I would just, if there's 4 people be assigned, just one come up here, just check them out. You wear your vest, you wear your cool shirt here. That way they see us. I want the leaders to get used to knowing that we're available if they have a problem. Now, we will tell them if it's obviously a medical emergency, cardiac, you need to be activating 911 and stuff like that. But if it's something real simple, someone locked their keys in their car, someone stumbled here, biting up their knee, let us know. We've had that happen in inclement weather where people slipped on ice and stuff coming into the building. Every people are sure-footed, myself included. So those are the type of things. I'm just trying to think from an administrative, public safety, and liability, what the care team should be looking at. And right now, I plan on having 2 more of these type of information sessions just to get us all together at one time. And then in 2024, coordinate with the pastors and whatnot, so that we can have group trainings, that we will have training that will just be us, making sure that we're all squared that way and spun up, and then have with the ushers, the greeters, and pastors, so that we have an emergency. So, in the 21st century, there's things that you have to work for or look at. If you notice in the packet and some of these things, I'm asking that 15 minutes after the services start, that we shut those doors by entrance D. Reason being, people should then have the cattle chute come up and go past. You normally have the greeters that are sitting in the back, Raymond, Wayne Seacrest or something like that, or even one of us could be there, but you're coming up and you don't have people who are coming in from the outside who have direct access to the stage with the pastors. That is my biggest concern, because sometimes people are coming in who, it's a church, right? And the church is for the people that aren't always healthy in all types of categories. For whatever reason, it's not something that our pastors actually did, but for some reason, they are the flavor of the month. So that way, they have to come up, they have to see if someone's acting strange or lost or whatever. The overwatch position, which is the cameras, They can monitor all the entranceways, all the common areas in the hallways, but we don't have eyes inside the Family Life Center. And Pastor Kent's working on getting some more cameras up here and probably eventually down here at the middle parking lot. So like when we have events like the Welcome Bash and stuff, we have eyes all the way and we know what's going on in different places. Those, by the way, that particular camera system that we're using now at the church is the same exact one we use at my jail. It's a good camera system. Cameras are sharp and really good.
Which address is D on?
So, let me see. Here's the Family Life Center. And this would be here. Because when they come in the door, they come right in.
Okay.
Yeah. So D is also where we keep the vests. Did everyone hear that? If you turn look at the Family Life Center, you're coming up and you make that, it would be a left as you're coming through the door and into the building. You make that hard left. And you can also walk around with these and just familiarize yourself and then make your notes. That's why I gave them to you. Just to familiarize yourself with the building and the way things are laid out. Now this is the main church building. I don't have any nomenclature for this building, but this building is pretty simple. I mean, you got the two levels. You have the entranceway here, and then the entranceway in the back. Those are the two main ways to get into the church. You got the two double doors here, two double doors there, and then you got the one single door. Well, you have some other doors up there, but they're always locked. At least there should be. The one that come right into where Pastor Josh's office would be, then the one off the porch, and then the one off the front porch up here. So they're all multiple entrances, but they are locked. And then what we need to start watching in that, sometimes these classes go a little bit long, but what I've found is sometimes the doors are left open. I've talked to the leaders about it, about making sure that single door over there, that's notoriously sometimes open. The double door is normally not so much, but that single door, and just people aren't thinking about it. It's just something that we need to start to focus on. The last service,